If you are not already a huge fan of the Instagram account Homes with Max, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you that you've been doing your algorithm wrong. Let's fix it. When you have a minute, bop on over and follow him to check out the extravaganza of video home tours. But for now, strap in while Max shares his vintage villain origin story, his favorite features of a time capsule house, and makes such a convincing case for bringing back wall-to-wall carpet that I kind of end up sold. I want you to tell me if he's persuaded you too. I know you'll love today's chat because I loved recording it, and I know that you, like me, love little more than nerding out over details with a fellow mid-century fan. Hey there, welcome back to Mid-Mod Remodel. This is the show about updating MCM homes, helping you match a mid-century home to your modern life. I'm your host, Della Hansman, architect and mid-century ranch enthusiast. You're listening to episode 2311. I really don't want to waste any time before we get into this episode, but I will say that over on YouTube, I've been recording a series of the details that strike an architect's eye. This is not unrelated to the conversation that Max and I are going to have today. So I've already covered how to make choices for updating or replacing mid-century cabinets if you have to, how to add lighting to a mid-century home properly, and the metals that are most appropriate for your mid-century home. I'm going to go on to talk about the hardware and handle types and shapes that work well, to talk about details that can improve the mid-century nature of your front door area. Give yourself a little exterior upgrade. Colors that are right for mid-century homes. So if you've got a question about the details that make up what drives the design, the mid-centuryness of your update, if there's something you're struggling with right now, reach out and let me know, because I'm on a roll with this series and I'd love to make relevant content. The other thing I need to say before we get started is that you can find Homes with Max on Instagram, and that's just your best place to go. But the show notes for this episode with a transcript of the persuasive case for wall-to-wall carpeting will be at midmod-midwest.com/2311. So you can also go find all of Max's information there. And yeah, let's just dive on in. You're going to like this one. Here I am with Max, and I'm so excited to get some of your insight into being inside of Great Mid-Century Homes, and welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
All right, well, I think a wonderful jumping off point from my perspective is always to kind of find out what someone's vintage villain origin story is. So, like, what was the beginning? Was your Instagram channel the beginning for you, or were you already looking around, or where did you start?
The Instagram channel was the only way it could have possibly ended, but it started early in childhood. I was brought along to estate sales almost every weekend. So already early exposure to homes, and you can only imagine the kind of homes I was seeing. I'm 30, so this was like 20 years ago. So many original mid-centuries and even homes from the 30s and 40s with their original furnishings. It really brought up a love for that with me. I also was raised on Turner Classic Movies, so
Fun.
I've also just had a weird thing for furniture my whole life. I wanted to have my, I think it was my 9th birthday party at the Marshall Fields furniture section, and my parents had to be like, maybe not.
Oh, but that means you are exactly my kind of nerd, and I love it.
Yes.
Did you ever get to throw a party in the furniture section later?
That is actually, I've been thinking about that so much lately. I think that's going to be 31. Everybody get ready.
Yeah. That's an invite I would be excited to get, actually. Yeah. So estate sales as a kid. When you were a kid, did you fully appreciate them for what they were? Or was it just the air you were breathing and you were kind of just along for the ride? When did you become obsessed?
I don't remember a time when I wasn't obsessed, genuinely. Okay. Like, I was always my mom collects a lot of old embroidery stuff. And I always remember that I found, which I now find very interesting. As a kid, I found that so incredibly boring. So I would go off and wander all through the house while she was going through very meticulously through all these napkins.
For a specific topic of thing. Yeah.
And I wanted to see the whole thing. And I got much more interested in the house and the things themselves. And now that I have money, I love it. But yeah.
Well, estate sales are so much fun for that, because they are a little bit exploded, of course, because things are the object for sale. But you do usually find that in really time capsule houses.
I
And
do.
you get to just poke around into all of the, people don't have an estate sale quality life unless they have a very specific kind of house.
You get to know the people too. And I'm incredibly nosy. I have so many boxes of old pictures of people whose estate sales I've gone to that I've fallen in love with.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's funny because I've been tempted by things like that. I was just in an architectural salvage shop in Des Moines as I was there for a site visit with a
Ooh.
client before the end of the year. And I got so tempted by this just random daguerreotype picture of like a woman reading to two little girls. I was like, I think I want this in my house. And in the end, I didn't take it. It had a broken frame. I was foolish and low blood sugar, and I didn't bring it home because I was like,
But
these aren't my relatives. What is this?
no broken frame will stop me, and frequently it should.
But I think I'm learning an opposite lesson from that because what my feeling of regret from 3 months ago tells me that the next time I encounter a photo like that, I should take it home with me. So,
That's the spirit. They're just relatives you haven't met yet.
oh, there you go. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, all right. So you've always been into it, but at some point you went from person who likes mid-century, old things to person who has an Instagram account that people love to watch.
Yes.
What made you start?
Well, I was studying architecture actually in France for a few years, and I graduated. I have my master's. I was ready to go out into the world, and the architecture firms of Chicago responded to me with what I will characterize as aggressive disinterest. um, so I had so much free time on my hands, and a lot of that was spent scrolling through Zillow. And I think I could sense that my friends and family were getting sick of all the listings I was showing them. And so I had to, so I started putting them on Instagram. And if I look back at the old videos, oh my, the audio quality is just awful. And I am talking for like 2 minutes straight about one thing. My style has changed a lot, but I clearly needed an outlet. And
Right.
I'm still shocked to this day that people were interested in that. So
Well, shame on the firms of Chicago for not
I
immediately
agree.
picking you up.
Shame on them all.
I worked at a firm in Chicago for 3 years while my sister was in med school, and we were
Oh, cool.
roommates. And I love the city, but looking back, I love the city itself, but it's not my flavor of architecture firm. And what I did was wander away and start my own thing, which also incidentally began with an Instagram account. I was obsessed with the mid-century ranch neighborhoods I was walking through in Madison and just started taking pictures of them and putting them online for, I don't know, everyone around me was bored with hearing about it. This seems very familiar.
Exactly.
And lo and behold, I think I started that 2017 about, and now this is all I do all day. So great things may be ahead of you with this.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. Certainly, I find that Instagram has been a wonderful place to just find your fellow vintage weirdos who are excited about it, want to know about it, and are always good people in my experience.
I've met so many cool people through this. People who own houses that they're preserving, time capsules, the real estate agents who show them. And I just made a lot of friends.
Oh, that's delightful. So I think I was going to be asking you, since I see other houses on your account that are not necessarily mid-century, what do you have feelings about mid-century? But you already spoiled for me that mid-century is your favorite. Tell me a little bit more about how is it that you go about finding a house, choosing to put it on your account? What draws you to a place in the first place?
Well, as I say, to this day, I still have a lot of free time that I spend going through Zillow, and I will find a target and I will scroll down, find the listing agent, and then I will harass them by phone. And
oh my gosh.
Ask very politely, can I please see your listing? And at first, I think I had a very low success rate. As my account has grown, I am happy to say, like, I get to go into pretty much any place I want to, which is the dream of any nosy person.
Now you say who you are, and they're like, yes, please come put this house online for us.
Yeah.
Do you need to do a quick turnaround? Well, I don't know what your process is, but do they find that they can like actually move a house because you have featured it on your page?
I have, this makes me sound bad, but I have only one house that can say I truly successfully saved, and it is my proudest achievement. I actually met up with the owner very recently. They found the house through a video I made and knew they had to have it, and then had me over they're preserving the whole thing. They're keeping it in the family. It makes me so incredibly happy.
That
And
is
if
a
I
success story.
saw the house, it is just, if any house deserved to be saved, it's that one.
Oh, amazing.
Very Betty
Um,
Crocker kitchen.
well, hopefully that story can happen more and more often. But I do love
Fingers
this as an
crossed.
in for getting inside of places. I'm feeling like this is another place where I should just take inspiration from you because I am aggressively introverted and I don't like to talk to strangers. I only do it through my screens. But I want to get inside of houses. So I think maybe this is one of the questions I was going to ask you. And I said this out loud to Rebecca, my wonderful operations manager. I wanted to find out how you get inside of old houses. And she was like, "You mean legally?" And I was like, "Yes, I mean legally. I don't mean how you break into houses, but like what do you go about? Do you typically just go through real estate listings? Do you ever just knock on someone's door? Sort of what's your philosophy for
I have left a post-it note on someone's door before, which has
interesting?
been successful.
I
Because, like,
did once mail a
yeah.
series of letters to addresses of houses that I liked.
Ooh,
Um,
old
yeah,
school. I like it.
this was, well, it was a few years ago, but yeah, also I didn't have to go up and touch their front door until they said
I
hello.
am I am both introverted, but I have no problem. Like, for the sake of the house, I
For the sake
will
of
do it.
yeah. Well, and this is maybe again something I want to take away, but I love that you've gotten this opportunity to go into so many different places. Do you have favorites? Do you have places that stick with you long after you've been in them?
I get made fun of all the time by my commenters who supposedly like me, that I call every single house my favorite.
Okay, fair.
And there is a time and a place where it is completely true. I do have one that stands out as a favorite, which is one that we just recently lost. It's the Robert Rasmussen house in Lake Forest, which there is a great write-up by the listing agent who did it, Lou Zuccaro. It's such an interesting story. Student of Frank Lloyd Wright built this gorgeous, curvy house in Lake Forest. It's in the middle of the most normal suburb you could imagine,
Oh,
and it's
gorgeous.
just beautiful. And it came with all the original furniture too.
Oh,
And
wow.
oh,
And you
I'm
say
worried that this is
lost.
going to be so shady, but to the person who bought it, because I was so excited because they talked to me like, "Oh, we're gonna restore most of it. We're keeping it all. We just need to make the bathroom a little more accessible." It's like, okay, fair enough. Like, and then they very proudly sent me the pictures of, they're like, "Hey, we'd love to have you back. We finished restoring the house. Come over." And I was like, "Oh, can I see some pictures?" And it was so, oh, I hope they don't. I'd hope they don't listen because it was so bad. I honestly gasped. I was like, and if I came over and did a video, you would be pilloried by the internet. I can't do that to you. I'm sorry.
That's so sad.
When
I
it came
wonder
with
if
the
they just
original furniture,
don't
like,
understand or if their sense of mid-century taste is just
yeah,
I
that's,
there
and that's
I
why
mean
I need to be like you. You are out there fixing up these mid-century homes.
my goal really is to save my big dream is to save every mid-century house in America from a bad remodel because I just think every time someone comes in and destroys what was original in a house and pays no attention, we have to make changes. Things need maintenance updates. People need a new
Absolutely.
layout. But if we take what was the original sort of design DNA of the house and just completely ignore it, we've time stamped the house and we've made a replaceable sort of fast fashion remodel that has to be replaced again and again and again. And it's just filling up our landfills with
Uh,
junk. And it's such a loss because not every house has character. There are a lot of houses that have been built since 1985 that have no character
ooh, we're gonna have to
whatsoever.
fight on that one.
Well, okay, fair enough. But I just think, I mean, I do sort of special. I like all the historical eras of house, and I like any house that like really stays in its lane and leads
Me
in.
too.
But I just think the materials of the mid-century era and the design ethos of like simple, playful, cleanable, fun materials, like yeah, there's just so much to lose, and it's really sad when somebody just
And it's such an
doesn't get it.
experimental era too. We I feel like that's something we've really lost in residential design right now.
Yeah.
It's and we're gonna miss it when it's gone. it,
Yes. Yeah. There's some of this
it
is no
won't be
getting
though.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, the time capsule features appliances. I mean, it's wild to me too how many times people will say, "Yeah, we do want to change everything. Probably this oven that's embedded in a brick sort of the back of the hearth core, but it still works. And I'm like, if it still works, maybe we keep that. I will tell you for free, a modern oven you buy today will last you like 10 years at best, not 75. So
I want to fight against people's knee-jerk reaction that you need to replace these things. A lot of these things are working just fine and are, if not better, than modern things.
They might need cleaning. They might need restoration. But, this comes up a lot. I think I just, last week's podcast, I was talking about the fact that when you talk to the wrong person, they will, with a very straight face, tell you that whatever you have in your house can't be repaired, that it has to be replaced. If you show a broken original mid-century window to a window company person, they'll say what you need is a new window. But actually, if you talk to a glazier, you'll find out you just needed to replace the glass and reglaze the window.
Who would have? I just listened. I'm fangirling a little bit. I just listened to your episode of, I'm forgetting his name. It was the first episode of this season with the window hanger.
Scott Sidler. Yes.
Who would have thought that talking about vintage windows would be that interesting? And it's so good to know.
I know, right?
I hear that all the time in my comment section, and I think I've just in the back of my mind accepted, oh yeah, if a window's broken, there's nothing you can do. Yes, there is.
Yeah. Well, please, he has a great Instagram account. Point them to the Craftsman blog. And I think his Instagram handle is the Craftsman blog. And that he's got resources. He's got classes. He's got all the supplies you need. He has a list of installers in your area or repair guys in your area. So yes, you don't have to throw out all your old windows. And I think you'll find, well, back me up. When you go into a time capsule house, one of the things that makes it charming is that it has original doors, original windows.
It does.
Original fixtures.
There's no bigger turnoff than a white, what are those called? PVC windows? No, that's not the term, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's vinyl, it's white forever. Like there's no painting it. There's no changing it. It's chunkier than the sort of slimness of a wood or an aluminum window.
I'm saying this as I gaze at my own sad white vinyl window.
Same. The house that I bought had a lot of its original mid-century features. In fact, I bought it for these doors. I love these.
So pretty.
Slab doors. But the previous owner had, I'm sure, felt very responsible as they took the advice of a local energy company or a local window contractor that knocked on his door and replaced all the windows in the house with vinyl.
Never trust a window salesman. That's what I always say.
Right? So, okay, yeah. So you go into a house. What's your criteria for picking? Does it have to be a time capsule? Does it just need to be interesting? How much of it needs to be personal?
Softening my criteria. I used to be a very strict purist, like, no, I need to have all the appliances, all the bathrooms. I have now found so much joy in seeing fixer-uppers. I just posted a fixer-upper today in Wilmette. And I've been really enjoying that lately, too. So, like, I'll go for anything.
Fair. Well, I think there's a lot of potential in a house. I mean, in my business, I find probably maybe like a 30-30-30 mix of houses that are actual time capsules, houses that have like an 80s or a 90s remodel in them, and something that's just been like really aggressively flipped recently. And there's a silver lining to all of it. If we've got time capsule features to work with, then we have a template for the materials that we should be using in the house. As we make any change, we're just referring back to that as our guide. If the house was sort of partially remodeled, then we've got maybe some original features, basement, the least loved bathroom, something like that. And if everything has been wiped clean, then we get to start over, but we can go back and rebuild a time capsule house if we try really hard.
What's more inspiring than a blank canvas?
I do, as a designer, and you probably feel the same, that a completely blank page is sort of overwhelming. Having some design
I need one thing.
Okay,
it really is one thing. And like this house, I'm using the example of the house I just toured last week that I posted today. There's one amazing staircase, and it has the original breeze block screen. It's floating. It's beautiful.
Fun.
And everything else around it is painted this very 80s beigey pink. But I've gotten pretty good as I've toured these houses at peeling back the layers. I'm like, oh, I can see what this is. I can see what this can be. Like, that to me is enough. Like, I can I can work with that.
Well, and I think learning to see the potential is really important. I feel like I'm just name checking on my own recent podcast interviews, but I was just talking with my past client, Michelle Crampton, recently about her house and how when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this house is amazing. It's got such good bones. Whereas I think the reason that it was on the market in the first place was everybody else looked at it and was like, this house is not a winner. It has a really terrible 90s remodel in it. Who wants that? And I was like, yes, but the location, but the windows, but the
But look
aspect, but the
underneath that 90s
orientation,
remodel.
the structure. Yeah, it's all there. I can work with this. And so, yeah, lurking underneath the bad paint jobs and finding a feature staircase. I mean, that's something that somebody, hopefully the right person is going to find that house and take the staircase as their sort of
Trust. It's already under contract, which always fills me with equal parts dread and hope. Like, fingers crossed. I really wanted to go well.
we can try to be optimists.
We can try.
I feel nervous when I see a for sale sign in front of an untouched house in my neighborhood. I'm almost like, oh God, here comes the vinyl siding. But there's
That's why I
hope.
have to. That's why I have to win the lottery. That way I can just save them all myself.
Right.
A
Well,
house order.
if you could snap your fingers and change one thing, would I even change? I don't know. I might spend it on preserving mid-century houses. I really might.
Truly.
So, okay. I mean, you spend a lot of time inside of time capsule houses. What are the kinds of features that you light up the most for? Is it just that they're cohesive across the house itself, or are there specific
I have
things?
favorites.
Mhm.
I have favorites. I love to see a breadboard. That's something I think every kitchen should have, and it's a
Yes.
shame they stopped being standard. Those built-in blenders, I truly do like gasp when I see one. I love an accordion door or a sliding door, a pocket door. And if I can get one that has original draper, I know that sounds lame, but like that is so rare to find one that has the original pleated curtains
Oh,
or it adds
yeah.
to everything, you know?
And if they're in anything like reasonable shape, it's quite expensive to source new pinch plate curtains today. So if they could be cleaned and even frankly, if you just keep the mountings, it's worth thinking about.
That's one of the things that I loved about that house I just toured. It had all of its original knoll curtains.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go. And again, like fabrics also aren't meant to last forever. That said, I think one of the things I love most about mid-century things is often how many natural materials are involved. But I think when we get into mid-century fabrics, we're getting into the magic of polyester and some fairly bomb-proof upholstery fabrics that you find. So yeah, especially when you're hunting for vintage furniture.
The miracles of science.
This chair it's got some sun fading, but I thought I would recover it when I got it.
But I think we might be chair twins.
Oh yeah.
I think we just might be. That looks I can only see a little corner of it, but it looks very similar to the one I have in my dining room.
It's got the
Oh,
little
close but no cigar, but it's beautiful.
wooden leg detail. I love it so much. I got this from,
pretty.
I'm going to blank on their name. It's a lovely vintage antique shop that's up in Appleton, Wisconsin. And they are such nice folks. I think have recently switched from having a storefront to being appointment only, but they are finders of great things. I'll put the link to their name in the show notes when I go look up after this. But yeah. So do you get to source a lot of vintage things for your own life? You said we're chair fraternal twins here.
Yes, I do.
Do you ever find things in the houses you tour and somehow get someone to let you take them? Is that a thing that can happen?
I have tried twice and failed twice, unfortunately. But I feel like I came pretty close. So maybe next time.
Keep trying. That's what that story tells me.
Yeah. I want souvenirs from all these places. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah. The memory of it is part of it, but yeah, it's only part. So actually this is an interesting question I ask people sometimes when I think of it, is what does mid-century mean to you? Do you have a year bracket that you put around it? What's your sort of definitional?
Everybody wants to have an opinion about this. I'm very generous with my mid-century definition. I'll go like 1945 to 1980, frankly, which I know is a stretch, but I think it counts, you know? It's that time when natural materials were prioritized, which I think pretty much died out in the late 70s to early 80s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting way to think about it. Yeah. because I find that I will blur the boundary for myself. And when I'm picking clients, I only work with people who have a house built in the mid-century years. And I basically say, yeah, 1940, post-war, all the way up
Mhm.
to late 70s is an easy yes. I find that the structure underneath the walls starts to change pretty dramatically in the mid
Mm.
70s. And we'll get into, instead of stick frame rafters, now we have trusses in the ceiling. That makes it harder for me to make. Well, in some ways easier. It's harder for me to know what's happening behind the walls. And sometimes it's easier to
Yeah.
move around interior walls. But the emphasis on natural materials as a basic design ethos is a really interesting blanket term for, or blanket definitional quality for
Which
mid-century.
it is interesting, but also a little bit inaccurate because there are some artificial mid-centuries that I adore.
Yeah. Oh, the
Like,
burl wood wall art, which
yeah.
is just plastic, and all of the various. Yeah. No, there's some wonderful mid-century kitsch that's completely artificial. I love that mix of natural and space age materials that gives you it's so casual. I think today we think of mid-century. If you think about what goes into Atomic Ranch magazine, or if you think about
Mhm.
like an architect designed mid-century home, it feels so unattainably high end. And to do a good restoration on it is extremely expensive to source the kind of big wood panel, lovely wood
Mhm.
grain, that kind of materials. But in the mid-century years, it didn't necessarily mean high end at all. It was just what everybody had. And
Yeah.
I think there are ways to throw back to think about plywood as a finished material and stuff like that.
And I really
People still
admire
use
that.
it.
It makes me think about the Eames and all the case study houses.
Mhm.
All these things were meant to be accessible. Uh, there's one that's still on the market, which is my life's goal to save. Hopefully, someone listens to this and buys it. In Ashton, Illinois, it is just like that. The owner made all the furniture, the entire house, out of very accessible materials, including a lot of plywood as finished material.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yes. And it's all owner made by an amateur architect. And that's what I love about MCM. So many of the houses I cover aren't made by big, notable architects that have a history. They are owner created, they are
Mhm.
essentially improvised.
Or even if they're
Well, not
contractor built,
improvised
they're
is so not the word, but
they're just some guy. Well, actually, this is interesting. I don't know if you've encountered the sort of land use and contractor mechanics. I think there were more tract developments in the greater Chicago area in the mid-century years, but in Madison, where I'm located, there really weren't. So neighborhoods got developed one lot at a time, and it would just be a bunch of different like jobbing contractors who would buy a lot, sort of front the materials to build a house on it, sell it, use the money to do another one. And as they grew, they started to do like 2 or 3 or 4 houses a year, but it was very much one off. So you can actually trace the original builders and see how their design ideas kind of grew over time. But it's very like there wasn't an architect. It was this guy had a cool idea and then he tried it again and then he tried it again.
even within those ecosystems of tract homes, though, one of the things, and I'm just describing basically an essay I wrote in college forever ago, but I
Oh, fun.
studied the variation within like this very homogenous system, like Levittown,
Mhm.
or um, the alterations that people did throughout that time are so interesting to
Yeah.
me
Well,
to
and mid-century
individualize
houses
them.
were very much meant to be your starter house, not that you would move from, but that you would add on
Mhm.
to. You would finish the attic, you would finish the basement, you would put on an addition out to the backyard.
Mhm.
And then they go from being a monolith to being
Yeah.
somewhat or very individualized.
Houses are such
Um,
static objects nowadays. It's disappointing.
I think that's true. This is actually, I don't talk about it this way, but I think about the master plan process the way that I work with homeowners, as we're not necessarily designing an entire remodel you have to do at once. We're thinking about what
Mhm.
you do this year, what you do next year, and what's your 10-year goal that you're not preventing from happening with what you do now. But that's very aligned with the sort of mid-century ethos of a house as something that grows with your family and that you kind of budget for changes over time. They were probably more into the DIY of it all. But
Mhm.
I have a lot of clients who come to me with a house that like their dad hand built all of the built-ins in the house. And so we're like, well, we can't change that. We'll find a way to solve your problem somewhere else because this is staying. And then we'll expand beyond it somewhere else and refer back to it as a material palette.
Mhm.
What caused so
I
in college you were already thinking about Levitt houses? That's great.
Oh yeah, I was on track. I'm
You
just
were very consistent.
I love design in general. I love learning about it, talking about it. Uh, and I see even That's why I don't really have styles that I dislike, if I'm being honest. Like I can find something that if I understand the ethos behind it, I'll appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I do too. And I think people sometimes think I hate all styles but mid-century because it's all I ever thought about. But I don't. I just have niched down into one little thing that is what I speak to the internet about all day, every day. But I think, yeah, the mark of a well-designed building or anything to me is that it's clean, that it's pure, that it is what it is. So I spend a lot of time telling people to avoid shaker cabinet doors like the plague. But if you've got a cottage, go ahead.
A lid for every pot.
Right.
That's the most reluctant compliment I've ever given.
Yes, but in a modern update to a mid-century house, please no shaker doors.
No, no more shakers. And I have a controversial one.
Okay.
I think we need to bring back wall-to-wall carpeting. I am so tired of seeing hardwood in restored mid-centuries. Bring back colorful wall-to-wall.
All right, say more. Keep talking.
So I think the softness and essence of a mid-century room comes from its carpet. And so frequently I am seeing people replace it with genuinely nice hardwood, frequently wide plank, which don't get me started on that.
No, yeah, that's wrong. Especially, yeah, an engineered wide plank that's only 4 feet long.
And the roof immediately loses so much of its character and softness through that process. Like I see people in all these videos I make, like, well, first thing I'm removing is the orange carpet. And I think, how dare you?
Well, okay. So personally, I don't like fluorescent lights and I don't like carpets and I find them to be icky, but that's like a sensory thing maybe as much as anything. But I will say there's a lot of style. There's a lot of personality in a carpet. I've definitely walked through vintage houses with clients where the carpet, also bring back carpet if we can bring back cool carpet.
Yeah.
Carpet with an interesting texture, like trimmed into it. My grandparents' house had slab concrete floors over which they had laid what was the color? I think they actually had to replace it. They had shag rugs throughout their entire living area, like deep pile. And my grandmother was never seen outside of her high heels either. I don't know how she survived that house. But they had to replace the carpet after they'd done some work on the slab in the 90s, maybe. And they found the one source in the entire greater Milwaukee area that was going to sell them bittersweet shag carpet because they had to replace exactly what had been there.
It's hard to find.
I do have a fondness for that. My personal compromise is area rugs. But I will say I'm a bit of a snob because I have a pre-1945 house myself, which has original hardwoods that I was able to restore, that were living underneath the kind of bland, boring, not my favorite color of green wall-to-wall carpet that was just protecting them forever for my benefit. But not everybody does. If this is a fun fact you might not know, the war industry switched from making plastics into war munitions to making plastics into wall-to-wall nylon carpet for mass market in 1945. So
I did not know that
year, 1954. So if your mid-century house is built after 54, the odds are much greater that it has just subfloor and carpet as its original finished floor material. But if it's before that, it has the narrow oak strip because that was like the default builder grade carpet, builder grade floor material before that time. So I can kind of get that.
I think it's worth it. That is worth preserving. I should clarify.
But if you've got subfloor and you're wondering what to put on it, okay, come for me in the comments. Mid-century
honestly
listeners.
I always tell people come for me in the comments. I have even defended bathroom carpet. I think it feels glamorous to me. That's a lot. And that is a hill I'm willing to die on all alone.
Okay. All right, fine. I'm gonna give you that to stand up by yourself. But I will say, if your question is if you're looking at a budget and your question is, should I go with like a modern engineered faux oak floor, as you say, wide plank, short units, or carpet, do a fun color of carpet.
I agree. A fun color of carpet.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Oh my God, a convert.
All right. Yeah, you know what? If you just hit me with that at the beginning of the conversation, I probably would have been like, no. But I can see it. All right.
I think that's the next thing. I think carpet's about to come back.
Well, people do like it.
I think carpet's coming back. Wallpaper's already back.
Yeah,
Mhm.
wallpaper is a fun one. And
Uh,
it's to me it's great because it's such a personal choice. You choose a wallpaper for yourself. And that
Truly.
is what I would love to see everybody do. I feel like we're so trapped in this idea of like resale value and making choices for your house for like who the hypothetical next person will be.
And there will never be a hypothetical next person. I am dying in this apartment.
Right? You don't even know that that person exists. So I think make your choices for yourself. If the next person doesn't like them, they can change them. That's the law. But maybe they'll pick your house for the cool personal choices that you made.
I know a lot of people who have.
Mhm. Right. Because
Mhm.
some people like to build a really cool assembly of details, and some people just like to say, hey, that, and move
Yeah.
into it. Um, yeah, wallpaper, you don't have to sell me on. Anything else? What are your controversial vintage loves?
Oh, I don't think most of these will be controversial with you because you match my freak on a lot of these things. Um, Pink bathrooms,
Oh, yeah.
I adore. Oh, the concept of a rumpus room, I would really
Oh,
love to see make a comeback.
yeah, that's a good one.
You know, we don't do nearly enough day drinking in our homes, I think. We all should go back to the basement bar concept. That is something I'm sure you're in Wisconsin, right? So you are
Mhm.
in the basement bar capital of the world.
Oh, yeah, we still all have our basement bars here. That's people don't
They
bring
are
all of those
becoming a
away.
rarity in the Chicagoland area.
That's a shame. Okay, I
I
know
know,
I
they're
know
so
that Wisconsin
fun.
is a state. I just saw a social media thing that was like it looks like there's one county in Wisconsin that doesn't have only alcoholics in it, but that's a lake. And that is true. And so drinking in moderation, folks, but it's such a lovely social
Moderation,
activity.
moderation.
Yeah,
We
the basement
imagine
bar
the
is a
concept.
wonderful thing.
I love the idea of like bringing all your friends into your slightly kitschy themed basement bar.
Right, with your Pickwick pine paneling or maybe your faux
Oh,
wood
there we
paneling.
go. Wood paneling, the next
Hmm.
one. I love wood paneling. Even the
Yes.
fake kind. I like when there's a uh like a statement grain or it's going in chevrons.
Oh, fun. Yes. I mean, I think my personal taste is a little bit more minimalist than maybe the full mid-century kitsch, but I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it.
And I am right there in the exact Venn diagram between like kitsch and like I don't know the right word, but like mid-century sleek minimalism. Like
Bring it
I
all.
exist
Yeah.
in the middle.
Well, and it's again, it's like it's leaning in. When you see a room that is so completely bought in, you just want to come in with mid-century vintage furniture
Mhm.
and just like every decor item and treat it like your grandparents' house.
There's a concept I read about forever ago. It applies about a men's fashion magazine called Spezzatura, where you have to have something just one thing slightly off in your outfit to be truly tasteful. And I really agree with that in home interiors too. Like I think everyone needs one slightly tacky thing in their room, or else it's vulgar.
You know, that's actually a really interesting way to think about for people, especially who have a house that's been aggressively flipped and they're trying to bring back mid-century features. I think lean into the kitsch is a good way to not
Mhm.
completely perhaps if that's not your taste, but like if everything is just like a beautifully minimally restored
Mhm.
wood grain piece of furniture and like the most tasteful atomic wall
Mhm.
clock you can imagine, like then how about like a 1960s beer sign?
Throw in one Margaret Keane painting. Have a little fun with it.
Cruel work Elvis, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And your local vintage store has got you there. So you can find it.
Frankly, you could even go to your Goodwill.
Yeah, actually, and that's the where you'll get it for much less.
Yes.
So your true vintage hunter is not looking at some place that's already been curated for them. They're just like out scavenging, not
I
the
love
estate
the
sales,
thrill
but
of
the
the
garage
hunt.
sales. Yeah.
You know what's been forever? Have you ever gone to like a really good hoarder estate sale?
No, I don't go to enough estate sales. And you're also making me feel like I'm failing in my
You,
life goals
I
here.
need you to get into the estates. Like you would have the time of your. I have a feeling. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I've enjoyed everyone I've
this
ever been
feeling.
to.
Yeah.
I get overwhelmed because I feel like I'm supposed to be looking for things and like elbowing my way towards something before somebody else chooses it, but I'm basically just looking at the buildings. I treat them like an opportunity to go trespass in someone's house and see what it's like on the inside.
Me too. And with the added benefit that I might be able to snatch a few good things.
You
I
might
also get
find
into a
something.
very competitive spirit that I enjoy a little bit. Like I like the feeling of like a pop-up sale where I'm a little bit elbowing an old lady to get to the plates, but politely.
The only thing I've ever successfully brought home from estate sales is out of season Christmas stuff. Because, like in the middle of the summer,
I love the Christmas section.
there'll be like an entire, yeah, actually, I have quite an accumulation of vintage Christmas stuff because I'll go to summer estate sales or garage sales or something, and there's a whole tent of like someone's Christmas extravaganza, and everybody else is like, whatever, it's summertime, and also that stuff's tacky, and I'm like, hold my beer. This is fun. So yeah, the like tarnished metal balls and the little Santa figurines and the
I have a purely
things.
secondhand Christmas ornament collection. I love it.
Who needs anything else? Well, I got things and painted them yellow, not vintage things, modern tat, and painted it yellow. Because I have a theme.
By the way, I'm not sure if this will make into the video part. I love your matching earrings and nails. That is so cool. I love it. I never see a yellow nail.
I have a theme and I start to just deep cut. My sister has developed an obsession with doing her own nails in the pandemic, and the company that she likes made one yellow once and then discontinued it. And I purchased like 12 bottles of it, and it's my favorite.
I love that. So you have the last of the supply.
I have the last of the golden afternoon color, and yeah, here it is right here. I tend to do my nails at my desk when I'm answering emails in the mornings. I love a theme. I have yellow throw pillows. I have yellow earrings. The color of my business is yellow.
You have to have a signature color. I have my orange phone and microphone.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. Well,
that's mine.
It makes life easy. Everybody should have a favorite color. Having your weird preferences feels very aligned with the mid-century era. And I think that, people get afraid to go too hard, to pick their preferences, to lean into what they love. And yet all of the houses that we love the most, all of the like, oh my God, that Zillow house, the places that you want to go to are so specific. They're so the owner's entire personality in a house. And isn't that what we all aspire to? Really?
Truly. I would love for some future nosy person to want to rummage through my things. I can think of no higher compliment.
It's like you can't take it with you, but you can leave it all at a really great estate sale. And maybe that's the goal of every vintage loving person.
Oh man, put that on a bumper sticker.
Here we go. Yeah. Well, what advice do you have for people who are hunting for a time capsule house or who are trying to turn the house that they have into more of a time capsule? Those are two different questions.
Well, as we have both said right now, lean in, don't be afraid. And I do think that the main thing really is just embrace the ethos of the era. Even if you're not getting exact mid-century replica pieces, think like the people in that era were. We are forward-facing, we are optimistic, we are making a statement on this house that we will be in for a while. And not afraid to experiment.
That's a really interesting thing. And I wonder if this is new for me, but I wonder if part of the appeal of, I think, our generation, I'm using a large bubble. I know I'm a little older than you, but our generation loving mid-century things. And what was so exciting about the mid-century era was that most of my clients tell me that they're thinking about this as their forever home. They want to stay here forever. Whereas I feel like in my childhood, and you might have experienced this too, the idea was kind of moving from one house to another. And Americans change jobs a lot. We change cities a lot. That's true. But like the idea of a starter home and then a bigger house and then a bigger house and then a retirement house. But I think in the mid-century era, people did not intend to move out of the house that they started with. And I don't think if we can become homeowners, I don't think we have any ambitions to bop around either. I think we want to find a place and make it ours. So maybe that's something we have in common with them.
Yeah, I'm a renter and I'm doing that. I am digging my roots deep. I am putting up wallpaper. I'm going to be here for a while. I might as well make myself comfortable.
Personalizing every space. Well, this is the sign of a designer, is that you want to do right by your physical location. So speaking of that, actually, you talked a little bit at the beginning about how you have a background in design. You have a background in architecture, and that's something that you want to do again. What's your ideal version of getting to manifest your design vision on the world?
Well, as I said, I just recently turned 30, and I think that's when I had my realization, like, oh, I really miss the process of being in architecture school and having these problems to solve. And I also identify this issue of there are a diminishing number of these time capsule houses that I love. The supply of cool houses is being repleted. And if anything, I have a duty to do my bit in building it back up a bit. So I don't even know what form that will take yet. I would love to, like I said, just solve problems. I'm thinking of using my social media as sort of a backdoor into the design world.
Well, do you find that people reach out and ask you questions about their own house already?
Well, I have actually had one person who asked me to consult on their kitchen renovation, and it was a very minor thing, but it was the most fun that I have had in years. It was genuinely we figured out a way to reuse some mid-century cabinets instead of tearing them
Oh,
out, and it was a micro budget thing, but it made a huge difference, and I don't even need to design a whole house. I'm willing to design your bathroom, your closet, your coffee table arrangement. Like, I just want to get back into the
that's
design world, I've
amazing. Oh, I
realized.
love that. And I think that when we have a design background, it's easy to take it for granted. It's easy to think, oh yeah, well, I would just do this, this, and this, or have a knee-jerk reaction to something when a problem is presented to you. But for a lot of people, their skill sets are elsewhere. They're good at their tax paperwork. Lord knows I don't like that part. I find that a challenge.
I
They're
am
good at other
not.
things. And so I think that there's a missing point. This isn't a country that really values design help. I think Europe is much better at understanding the value of design.
No.
But I do think that people don't know how to name it. They don't know that they need a designer, but they do know that they don't know what to do with the problems of their house. And a lot of people who want to love mid-century are baffled by, they called a contractor and everything they saw in the lookbook was white shaker cabinets. And they're like, I guess I have to. Do I have to? And so for someone like you to come in and say, no, I think you can keep this, you can preserve this, and you can move this one over here. That is such a gift that you can give them. And also that is a professional skill that should be compensated. Let me be clear.
It's just like we were talking about how you and I have both kind of developed an eye to look at these poorly renovated MCMs and see what could be. Uh, I want to help with that too. I feel like I can lend that eye to some people.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, no, you have a niche interest, you have a lot of lived experience, and you have a honed expertise in this particular type of house. And also, you've got a design background, which not everybody that just appreciates mid-century has. So maybe the opportunity is still in front of you to sort of use your platform to offer advice.
I think so. I really do. I've already dipped my toe in a little. I did my own
Oh,
bathroom
fun.
recently, which a renter friendly version.
But that is actually also, that's not to tell you your niche, but if you are looking to help people who are asking for questions, I get so many questions that I don't have the capacity to help answer, of people who they don't own their property, but they want to make changes. So what can you do with change? Can you do furniture? Can you put in removable built-ins? These are actually things I did. I think you've probably done the same. I did these in renting spaces that I had. I attached things to the wall in a removable way and, put it back when I needed to, but like complex built-ins in the closet. And
I'm currently in the process of stashing away my landlord's vertical blinds so that I can put up
preserve
my
them.
own, because I
Put
can't
them
get rid
back
of
when you
them.
need to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think my biggest move was in the apartment I shared with my sister in Chicago. So many Chicago apartments have a dining room. And we were like, we don't need a 2-bedroom place if we have a dining room. So we installed a wall in the former French door opening between the dining room and the living room. And then we rehung a closet door on the door opening to the dining room. So she had a door, and we basically just turned a 1-bedroom place into a 2-bedroom. And we had it all set up so we could remove it all. It was like 6 holes that needed to be refilled.
That's
And
so
in
smart.
fact, when the landlord came to re-rent it to someone else, we were like, we hadn't quite gotten around to taking it down yet. And we were like, we will, we promise. And he was like, actually, no, leave it. The next person said they like it. Yeah.
Really? Oh my, what a compliment. That's what I'm hoping my landlord will do too.
To paint it all back to renter white, which hurt a little bit, but that was it. We left the dividers. We left it as a 2-bedroom when we had found a 1-bedroom. So, but I wasn't at that point. I was not a mid-century obsessive yet. And I think helping people figure out how to bring time capsule appropriate charm to there. In Chicago, it might be a 20s apartment. Do you want to do that? But yeah.
I hope so. That's something that I am currently doing in my own. I love the intersection of mid-century with other architectural styles. That's sort of a subgenre of house that is really fascinating to me.
Well, I think it's appealing to someone from a design background to think about sort of a modernist intervention into a house from a different era. And, mid-century is the core of American modernism, arguably. So yeah, that's a fun way to sort of put it in. Plus, a lot of older homes have like a mid-century time capsule kitchen. That is the kitchen that would have been in a mid-century house next door, but it's at a 1920s farmhouse.
Another house that I've toured that I loved was a 1880s Victorian that had been completely done up in the 70s. It felt so Mary Tyler Moore, and it's such an interesting collision of shag carpet and also these thick Victorian moldings in a way that I think that contradiction is really beautiful and interesting.
That's fun.
I like again that feeling of spezzatura, like a little something off.
I've heard this described in, I want to say, God, is this a concept I encountered as a middle schooler who was getting into decorative beading? I've always been into weird little crafts. And there was this concept that I encountered of a trouble bead. So you do a whole color palette for a piece, but you should put one in that's completely inappropriate. And that's your sort of, I'm not pretending to be perfect. This is reality.
I love a trouble.
Spazzatura. I'm going to hang on to that. I really like that.
You're welcome. It's a very fun word to say too, just phonetically.
Absolutely. Well, Italian's fun in general. Well, that's a broad generalization, but that's a really good one. So, okay. Well, we should. I always think these are going to be briefer, and then we just get into chatting. Is there anything else you want to make sure people know about loving mid-century houses? Advice for getting into time capsule houses? Advice for your own time capsule house?
My advice: do not be afraid to ask the realtors. A lot of them are mean, not gonna lie, but a solid 51% of them are also like down to like let you see a cool house. I've been such nice ones like Lou Zaccaro in Chicago, who has shown me around all of his old listings. He's so enthusiastic about it, and now I have a new friend to geek out about a MCM with, like you. So don't be afraid to ask. Also, I'd say don't be afraid of the old. Not everything needs to be replaced. Avoid the knee-jerk reaction. And call me if you have any mid-century questions, because I'm desperate for design work. So I'll help you. I'll be your guide.
Lovely. Well, and call you. Absolutely. Call anyone. If you're getting pushy advice from anyone in the world that's telling you, if your realtor is telling you, if your realtor is wrong and telling you, or if your contractor is telling you, you got to tear all this out and start over. No,
don't
call
listen.
Max will tell you not to. Call me. I'll do the master plan. But yeah, find people who like mid-century as much as you do, or whatever your vintage preference is. I was going to use that as a wrap-up question, but I have another question because you said realtors. And I have been consistently shocked, and I have not been as comprehensive as you, but I've been consistently shocked by how many people, if I go in my neighborhood and like an open house day, how many realtors don't call the house they're showing mid-century, don't big it up as a vintage time capsule house.
They try to hide it.
They're like, yeah, it needs a lot of work. It's kind of shabby. I'm like, it's a time capsule. It's amazing. You should tell everybody, but they personally don't like it. So they just don't see it.
Just from a sales perspective, why would you not try to make it sound as good as it could possibly sound?
Right. Okay, so maybe this is another niche thing that I just want to connect people who are selling a mid-century house with the kind of realtor that gets it, in the hopes that it can then be passed forward to somebody that also gets it. That seems so rare. But do you find that in Chicago, the people that are letting in these houses, do they know what they have?
Yeah, I've built a small network of them at this point. I have about 4 or 5 realtors who are as passionate about these homes as I am, who want to work with me. Like, let's see if we can find a buyer for this that'll appreciate it. And that's something that I've learned just from the page, not just with real estate agents. There are a lot more people who appreciate these homes than I thought, We're not nearly as niche as we
That's the
think.
argument too for every like grumpy uncle that comes over and says, well, you'll never sell that house. Well, that's his opinion, but there are a bunch of people that do think
I
it's
have
great.
314,000 people who
Exactly.
disagree. Like,
Exactly. So hopefully you can continue to use your powers for good and awesome and connect these houses with the right people and also provide your design insight to them.
I hope so. Yes.
Let's hope for more happy ending stories like that going forward.
Please. I've had too my stress levels can't handle it.
I know. I have consistently, I have a walking route I do with my dog every day through the neighborhood, and I have had to like alter it over the years because a house that I pass has been like violently attacked by vinyl siding, and I just can't look at it anymore. It's too hard. So
That's where you and I differ. I am so much more toxic where I want to look at it and I want to be mad. Like,
you just want to give it a dirty look every day.
I watched so much HDTV as like a younger person just to be mad at the TV. Like,
Well, that's a good reason to do it. Oh my gosh, I can't. It makes me so sad. It just, yeah. Well, we can do both things. We can be frustrated about it. We can spread our frustration in the world, and we can also hopefully just like inspire more people to know that vintage is cool and you don't have to ruin it. No one asked you to do that.
no one. Although, caution, if you do, I have come to find that flippers are very vengeful people.
Oh, interesting.
I have a subgenre of my content. I'm talking so much. Tell me when to
No,
shut
this
up.
is a
if you
great
want me
outro.
to. A subgenre of my content has become like flipper shaming, for lack of a better term. I'm nice about it. I genuinely am. Very charitable towards them, and they will inevitably find me and like get mad at me in my DMs. The flippers of the world, they are not good people.
They think they're justified. Well, you're braver than I am because I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, which I will say in the general, but I've never really been able to like bring myself to like put up an image and be like, well, this is all wrong.
I wish I could prevent myself. That'd be fantastic.
My friends all know that, but I don't put it on my Instagram account. I talk about it on the podcast and I don't use pictures, but you know what? Those flippers can just be wrong. They could just be wrong. I'm sorry it hurts their feelings, but they are wrong and you're right. So that's where we can leave it.
Yes, perfect.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is so much fun.
Yes, it's so nice meeting you.
So, have we successfully persuaded anyone that wall-to-wall carpet is a good idea? Or did you already love your wall-to-wall carpet and you were sort of looking at me askance every time I said, how about hardwood? Della, you can pry my cozy, foot-friendly wall-to-wall carpet for my cold, dead hands. That was your attitude. One way or another, I'd love to hear about it. You can find me and Max on Instagram and tell us about it. And if that doesn't work, shoot me an email. I would love to know your opinion. Find the transcript, links to Max's account, and everything else you need at midmod-midwest.com/2311. And I will catch you next time with an interview with my dear friend from Ginkgo Leaf Studio, Jim Drzwicki, talking to you about how to prepare your mid-century landscape for spring, plus a whole lot more. See you then. This episode was written and recorded by me, Della Hansman, and produced by Rebecca Rossi. If you'd like to support the show and mid-century homes in general, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. You can help other people find us when you leave a rating and review, or recommend us directly to a friend with a mid-century house. Find more of Mid-Mod Remodel on Instagram, YouTube, or pop right over to our website to check out our services. I would love to design a master plan for your home, or teach you how to create one for yourself in my Ready to Remodel program. Thanks so much for listening to Mid-Mod Remodel. I love that you love your mid-century house. I love it too.